Good morning. I will call to order the January 21st, 2026 meeting of the Indiana Alcohol and Tobacco Commission. We will note that we have a quorum. Next item on the agenda, disposition of minutes of the January 6th, 2026 meeting.
You say?
January 6th, 2026.
All right. We've received a copy of the minutes for the alcohol and tobacco meeting for January 6, 2026. I've reviewed those. They seem appropriate. I move acceptance of the minutes as proposed. Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Just as a note here, in the past, we have signed the minutes after they've been adopted and then posted them. For website accessibility reasons, we are now just going to accept the vote at the public meeting and indicate on the minutes that are posted that it was voted on in the public meeting.
Understood. Perfect. Fair.
Next item, prosecutor's recommendations.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, we received a report from the prosecutor indicating alcohol and tobacco fines for this recent period. There were 44 different pad forms for a total of $32,900. A number of those are worthy of discussion. For purpose of brevity and clarity, though, there are 8 of them that are worthy of note. They are all tobacco permits, and they all involve the sale of smokable hemp. In other words, the offense is the same. I thought I would just indicate, though, that one is from Henry County, one from Warwick County, Decatur County, Vigo County, Vanderburgh County, Madison County, Greene County, and Hendricks County. And I mention that because it's all over the state. This issue of the sale of smokable hemp is a real concern around the state. And it seemed to me that tobacco sellers should understand clearly that it has penalties. In this case, every one of these have agreed to a $1,000 civil penalty and a 7-day suspension of the license. So there are serious consequences to this, and they ought to be careful on what they buy and what they sell as their products in those different counties. I move acceptance of the prosecutor's report. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item, consideration of applications. Within the 592 renewal applications, one is for permit RR 4927664, El Chispas number 2 LLC. It was a renewal submitted for a year following a denial of a renewal by the local board. The commission has granted to allow the denied permit transfer, which is the reason the technical renewal is needed for that subsequent year. But I think renewing it at this point is premature while that transfer is still pending.
Agreed.
So I would ask that we remove RR 4927664 El Chispas from those automatic renewal applications and take that to 591 renewal applications.
Consent.
Okay, I will show that removed, and then we have 591 renewal applications.
And Madam Chair and fellow commission members, I incorporate by reference this list of 591 applications for renewal. Those have been recommended by local boards and reviewed by staff with authority of the commission. I hereby move for approval of the same, pending any needed escrow hearings. Further move for inclusion of this list as part of the minutes of today's meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. 58 new and transfer applications.
I incorporate by reference the list of 58 permit applications for a new permit or applications for changes in ownership or location or both for existing permits. Those have been recommended by local boards and reviewed by a commissioner. I hereby move for approval of the same, pending a final floor plan approval by the state excise police. I don't know how many times I say that, but it always gives me a tough time. Pending a final floor plan approval by the state excise police and an escrow hearing if needed for inclusion of this list as part of the minutes of today.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. 47 catering applications.
I incorporate by reference this list of 47 permit applications for catering, hereby move for approval of the same, and further move for inclusion of this list as part of today's meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Waivers of fees for letters of extension.
Mayor, members of the committee, we received information regarding the waivers for fees, for letters of extension. I move acceptance of them.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Items for discussion. The first item for discussion is RR 3242814 Nang Tai Chow, viewed with local board voting 4-0 to deny following failures to appear.
This comes to us from Hendricks County, at their local board hearing in October, November, December, January. There was failure to appear. Because of the failure to appear, I'm going to move that this new permit not be issued. So hold the local board denial for RR 3242814.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Leader.
Next item for discussion is RR 4343083 and RR 4343084. New application for the Pug Pub LLC with the local board voting 3-0 to deny.
This comes to us from Minton, which is Coskeyasco County. They did have a local board hearing on January 8th of 2026. There were several remonstrators who did remonstrate against this permit. It is very close to a church. It is within the 200 feet. Therefore, it does not meet the statutory definition, the requirements for a permit. The local board rightfully then recommended denial of this new permit. And since it is within 200 feet and there is no letter of acceptance from the church, I move that we deny new permits for RR 4343083 and RR 4343084, the Pug Pub LLC.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item for discussion is DL 4991005 Speedway LLC. This is a renewal with local board voting 4-0 to deny following failure to appear. We also have since received a request for remand and an extension request. I will open all of those for discussion.
Yes, this is here in Indianapolis. They did fail to appear at the local boards in October, November, December, and January. So we did deny the permit. They have since hired counsel. Counsel did file, as chair indicated, for a remand to local board for a chance to look at this renewal again. There were letters that were sent. I think it was to the local speedway in question. It did have a violation. I guess there was some confusion that they needed to appear at the local board hearing. Corporate Speedway got involved and is now engaged in hired counsel. I am going to recommend that or move that we remand this to the local board for it to look at one additional time and also grant a 90-day extension while it works its way through the renewal process. And that is for DL 4991005 Speedway LLC.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I would like to make a comment. One of the issues that we seem to be facing frequently is failure to appear. We've already had another on the agenda for today. In this case, there were a number of failures to appear. And with that, all the staff at ATC, whether it's here or from over board, have lots of work to do to follow through with that. Now, I say that recognizing that tens of thousands of people and permittees get this right and do a great job, and our staff do a great job. In this case, though, with recognizing that Speedway is a large corporation, I would like to recommend, in addition to remanding this, that Speedway or council or both be instructed that they should present why and what went wrong at corporate level to make sure this doesn't happen again. Again, it wasn't one time, it was 4 separate occasions. And it seems to me they should be able to designate what are the problems and what they have done to correct that. So it's just an admonition that at the local board level, they spend some time finding out why this should happen in a large corporate. Just because they're big doesn't mean they don't have to follow the rules.
I would just note the information we got from the attorney was that they corrected with internal controls. It doesn't look like addresses or contact has been updated with us, so,
It is, okay.
well, I don't know. So I guess my comment here is just, we're gonna keep using the same contact that we've been given. If the correction on the internal controls fixes it, great. If we need different contact information, then the permittee needs to address that. But I'm in favor of a remand, and
I agree.
well, I don't appreciate the 4 failures to appear. I do appreciate them quickly, trying to remedy the situation before we spend more time on it.
I agree with both of your comments, but I will add, if they fail to appear next time, I'm not gonna be so nice about it.
All right, with that, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next permit is RC 490402 Indianapolis Lodge number 17, Loyal Order of Moose. This is a renewal with the local board voting 4-0 to approve with remonstrators.
Yes, this is here in Marion County. It did go before the local board on January the 5th. At the beginning of that meeting, I think the owners of this, or somebody representing this Moose Lodge, indicated to the local board that they had closed down, that they were no longer in business. And so they left, and so they were not there for the discussion when the permit was called up. We did have remonstrators who were complaining about the business. A lot of that did have to do with music, loud noises, which is not something that we control, but is a local issue with Indianapolis. There have been a number of police calls to the business that the remonstrators did bring out. I will note that our legal office did send them a communication on January the 16th, telling them that we were going to continue this matter to February the 17th, our commission meeting then, and that they needed to address why they are no longer open. Are they relinquishing their permit? Is it going into escrow? They just gave a verbal that they are not open, but we need further details regarding that. They are supposed to let us know before February 13th. So I'm going to move that we reschedule this matter for February the 17th of this year, so that the owners of that business can either relinquish the permit, put it into escrow, or tell us what's going on with the permit, and that is for RC 4904-020.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. The discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next permit for consideration is RR 2930044 Pancake House Incorporated. This is the renewal with the local board voting 3-0 to deny. It was continued from the 12/16 meeting.
Yes, this is in Hamilton County, And we had asked them for a corrective action plan and details on what they are doing to be knowledgeable of Indiana law in their operations. Just yesterday or this morning, we received the corrective action plan, and we did receive copies of server permits and training certificates. In the corrective action plan, they stated some information that, or some details on getting permits for their employees and training, that they would do that in the future. Not that they would take care of it now, but they would have had it included, server permits and training certificates. I would like to see them correct the corrective action plan and state exactly that everybody has permits that need them and have training. And they also stated in there, when they hire somebody new, that they get 2 weeks until they need a permit and training. You can get a temporary, but you need to go ahead and have permit and training. We would like to see that for the businesses that have problems. We'd like to see that before people are employed. So I'm going to move that we grant a 30-day extension, ask legal to send them a letter stating that a corrective action plan needs some updates as noted. And I'll make that motion for RR 2930044 Pancake House Inc.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? I would just note, they can't grant their employees 2 weeks to sell alcohol and then get a permit. So I'm not sure where that 2 week came from. I would also note that the applications are online. They're available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The training is right there with it, also available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. An employee can work off of their receipt once they do that online application. So I don't see any justification for a 2 week window.
Agreed.
So with that, I'll support this, but if they can't come up with a plan that brings their business into compliance, I'll be likely to uphold the local board at the next, at February 17th meeting.
Can I just comment on the next sentence? Most servers that are of age to sell come from other restaurants. Don't they all have to be?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where they come from,
No.
other restaurants, so.
I think they may just be indicating they may have.
Private experience.
Yeah, yeah. And they bring their permit with them, I think is what they're trying to tell us.
That's what I thought. There's no reason to waffle about getting permits right away.
Right.
Yeah. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next permit is for MM 4830635 Cultured Urban Winery. I am recused on this matter, so I will turn it over to the vice chairman.
Okay. You have a report on this recommendation?
Yes, I do. This comes to us from Madison County. This has been continued twice before. We are in need of the property tax form, which is the Form 1. This permit did expire June 30th of 2025. They had a first extension from July the 2nd to September 30th. They do not have any violations. I know they have counsel that is working on it. This matter is under, the property tax is under appeal, and that's why they have not yet produced the property tax form needed. I'm going to, while it's still being reviewed, or under appeal by the, with the property tax, I'm going to move that we grant another 60-day extension. And I'm going to ask legal to send them a letter and just ask for an update on the appeal. Their attorney did indicate that it should be resolved soon. So hopefully within the next 60 days, we'll have an update on that. So continuation, reschedule MM 48-30635 Culture Urban Winery for 60 days.
I'll second it for purposes of discussion.
There's been a motion made and seconded. Is there any discussion? All those in favor of?
Yes, there is discussion.
Oh.
I know Deputy Director Surratt agreed, stated that the attorney in the tax appeal, feel the appeal would take longer than 60 days, said he would keep in touch with legal staff here. I have no indication that he has, that council has kept in touch with legal staff here. I raised concern last time about how long tax appeals sometimes take. At least it was my understanding a couple of years ago that you can always go ahead, you can contest it, you can appeal it, but you can still go ahead and pay the amount that they're asking for. And then if you're right on the appeal, you'll get a refund of that amount, possibly even with interest. I don't know about the interest part for sure. But at some point, this thing needs to be figured out. And I think they should, if necessary, by the next hearing date, assuming the continuance is granted, they need to figure out what they're gonna do. And maybe they need to go ahead and pay the tax that they're asking for, and then hope for a success on the appeal and then a refund.
Anything further?
No, sir.
Further discussion. There's been a motion made and seconded. All in favor of the motion under MM 48-30635 Culture Urban Winery for a 60-day extension. In favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? We show for the record that it is passed 3-0 with one abstention. Madam Chair.
All right, next item is RR 7934726 Purdue Research Foundation. This matter comes on for an extension request.
This is a beer and wine permit. It did expire October 17th. They had an extension from October 18th to January 15th. They do not have any violations while they work through the renewal process. I move that we grant a 90-day extension for RR 7934726 Purdue Research Foundation.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item is RR 4531398 M&S Investments Incorporated. This matter comes on for an extension request.
This is up in Hobart. It is a 210 permit. It did expire September the 1st. It had an extension from September 2nd to November 30th. Their entity is dissolved with the Secretary of State's office. They do need to work with the Secretary of State's office to have that reinstated. There is an email from our processor, Kurt, to them from December the 4th, which outlines in detail what needs to be done. I'm going to grant that we give a 60-day extension and, I guess ask legal to just notify them again that they need to get their Secretary of State's entity reestablished and supply us with a certificate of existence clearance before the next 60 days is up. And that is for RR 4531398 M&S Investments Inc.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I thought I saw where the paperwork that was required was submitted just yesterday. I read that either late yesterday or first thing this morning. If so, I don't think an extension would be needed. But we could go ahead and grant the extension and then if we in fact do have paperwork, we could go ahead and renew it within a timely manner. But I thought I saw an updated note that they have renewed with the Secretary of State's office.
You're right. I made a note that application is complete. It's on today's agenda for renewal. So I guess we could,
that.
and I missed it. I wrote the note and then missed it later. But I guess we could grant the extension if there are any continuing issues or, refund the extension if there aren't.
I'll amend my order to that.
Okay. Any further discussion?
I second the amendment then.
Some of this.
It was on the renewal list.
It is on the renewal list.
So sorry, I saw that and I should have mentioned it, again before, maybe you didn't.
No, I made the note and then didn't come back to it.
I think it's the same number, let me see, 31398.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So since we already renewed, do we want to just take this off the
Yeah,
list?
I think if you want to withdraw your
I'm going to
motion,
withdraw my motion and just make a motion that we, since this matter has already been dealt with as a renewal, that we take that off our list of items to be discussed for today.
we can show that removed by consent. Is there consent?
consent,
Consent.
All right. Next, permit for discussion is RR 7136368, the social LLC. This matter comes on for an extension request. I am currently sitting as hearing judge on this matter, so I'm abstaining on this consideration if the vice chairman wants to handle this matter.
Madam Commissioner, do you want to, report and make your recommendation?
Sure. This comes to us from St. Joseph County. It did expire, or it does expire March the 16th of 2026. They do have 3 pending violations, from April, August, and October of 25. They were all for public nuisance. Several of them, stating that there were, overserving of alcohol. Those are pending. They have not been resolved. They are scheduled for a local board hearing on January 28th. That likely won't happen. I don't know if they'll be finished, satisfying these outstanding violations by then. We do need a corrective action plan since this business has had some problems. I'm going to move that we reset this for 2 months from now, which will be March the 17th. They do expire March the 16th, so we give them a 1-day letter of authority to get them on the agenda for March the 17th. And hopefully by then, these 3 outstanding violations from 25 will be resolved and we will have received a corrective action plan. Yes, that can be part of your pre-hearing conference with them about the corrective action plan, or do we want legal to send them a, no?
I don't think there's any harm in sending the note.
Okay, we'll ask legal to send them a note about trying to work to, resolve those outstanding violations and submitting the corrective action plan to us. I make that motion for RR 7136368, the social LLC.
Correct. A motion made and seconded. Discussion?
I just want to make, if we could go send them a letter about a corrective action plan, I think we need to be cautious if they're contesting their guilt in those 3 violations, then I don't know how they're going to feel about making a corrective action plan without admitting guilt. Corrective action needs to be taken, so I just want us to be cautious in how we phrase that to the permittee in this case.
The legal can handle that.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Any further discussion?
No, sir.
There's been a motion made and seconded under RR 7136368, the social LLC, to continue the matter to March 17th, 2026, understanding that they've got a hearing on the 16th and they'll need a 1-day extension. Is there any further discussion? And if not, all in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Show the motion carries 3-0 with 1 abstention. Madam Chair.
All right, next item for discussion is RR 4917130, JOHN Incorporated. This matter comes on for an extension request.
Yes, they were missing some paperwork, which they have now gotten to us. They did expire August the 12th of 25. They did have a first extension from August the 13th to November the 10th. They did have a violation for an expired business permit and a sale to a minor. They are scheduled now for the local board on February the 2nd. And I'm gonna move that we grant a 90-day extension while this works its way through the renewal process for R 491713 JOHN Inc.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next permit for discussion is RR 5717008 Falco Inc. This matter comes on for an extension request.
Yes, this comes to us from Noble County. This is the 209 permit. It expired October 21st of 25. They did have a first extension from October 22nd to January the 19th. We have found out through the renewal process that this permit has been administratively dissolved with the Secretary of State's office since the year 2000. Over 25 years has been administratively dissolved. So that's their first problem. And then second of all, they have notified us that they would like to appoint a new manager, but that manager does not have an employee permit or have an examination. So we need those items from this business in order to be able to legally operate. I'm going to move that they should get a 90-day, or I'm sorry, a 60-day extension and ask legal to send them a letter notifying them that they need to get with the Secretary of State's office and deal with their dissolved entity of 25 years and check to make sure that all their employees, including the new manager, have employee permits and have done the exam. And that is for, and that within the next 60 days, take care of that for RR 5717008 Fall Code.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I would only ask if they realize or tell them they may need to deal with permit itself, given the fact that the corporation's been dissolved for over 25 years. I don't know if they'll have to get a new corporate identity or not, but that name may be burned.
Yeah.
So they may need to deal with the permit issue beyond just this.
Yeah, I think in these circumstances, we have accepted a,
Amended name.
well, I don't think you can even amend the name. But I think we've accepted a transfer. Even though the legal question we always ask is how can Falco Incorporated that does not exist transfer something?
Right.
But I think we're catching these quicker now.
Yes,
So
leave that
that's
to
the
the
hope
court.
for permittees in the future.
Yeah, leave that to the courts if an issue comes up. They may be liable for operating without an actual entity.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and tax issues,
Yeah,
depending on how you're reporting your taxes. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next, permit for discussion is RR 5035778. 818571 State Road 10 LLC. This matter comes on for an extension request.
This comes to us from Marshall County. It did expire October the 16th. They did have an extension from October 17th to January 16th and a letter of authority from January 17th to January 21st. They do not have any violations. We were waiting for some paperwork, which they've now gotten to us. They are scheduled for the local board on March the 3rd. I move that we grant a 90-day extension for RR 5035778 18571 State Road 10 LLC.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. There are 4 extensions to add to the agenda. Those are for RC 4004. Let me start over. RC 40044041, Loyal Order of Moose 576. RR 4927664, El Chispas number 2 LLC. RC 8212568, Fraternal Order of Eagles 427, and RR 8241466, Casey Jackson LLC. Can we take it by consent to add those 4 to the agenda?
Consent.
All right, I will show those added to the agenda by consent, and then I will call RC 40044041, Loyal Order of Moose 576 for discussion.
This is in North Mount Vernon. They did expire October 24th of 25. They did have an extension from October 25th to January 22nd. They are now scheduled for the local board for February the 16th. They have not had any violations in the past 10 years. I move that we grant a 90-day extension for OLC 4004041, Loyal Order of Moose number 576.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, is there any further discussion?
No, ma'am.
Not seeing any. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item for discussion is RR 4927664, El Chispas number 2 LLC. This matter comes on for an extension request. I will open this for discussion.
Yes, this was heard by Marion County local board. There was some question at the local board about if the orange sign notified of the public hearing had been posted or not. We did receive a few pictures from their attorney showing that the orange sign had been posted on the door of the business notifying of the public hearing. Since there was some confusion at the local board, I'm going to move that we grant a fee waive 90-day extension for this permit so that it can work its way through the renewal process. And that's for RR 4927664 for El Chispas number 2 LLC.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I'm abstaining because this is related to my case.
Would you consider an extension until the February 17th meeting?
Yes. I'd be glad to amend my motion to give an extension until the February 17th commission meeting.
I understand there was confusion at the last meeting. But it's a denied permit requesting transfer, so I think we need to hold them to, stick with the local board meetings. If there's reason to grant further extension of the February 17th meeting, we can consider that, but the hope would be that we get the transfer recommendation from local board at that meeting.
Second the amended motion.
Amended motion and second. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. I will show it passes 3-0 with 1 abstention.
Thank you.
Next item for consideration is RC 8212568, Fraternal Order of Eagles 427. I'll open that for discussion.
This comes to us from Vanderburgh County. There was 2 local board meetings where they were unable to have a quorum at the local board. So this permittee was not able to get their renewal. It has now been reset for local board on February the 10th. They are operating on an extension. And I'm going to move that we grant a fee waived 90-day extension for RC 8212568 Fraternal Order of Eagles 427.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor, or is there any further discussion? I would just mention, they had 2 failures to appear before the 2 meetings with no quorum. So just remind them, be there and be ready for the, February meeting. It seems like they got back on track by the December meeting where there was no quorum, but, that would be my suggestion to the permittee. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item for discussion is RR 8241466 Casey Jackson LLC.
Yes, this one also comes to us, from Vanderburgh County in Evansville. They did expire November the 4th, 25. They did have a first extension from November the 5th to February the 2nd. They have been rescheduled for local board on February the 10th, and this one had the same problem as the last one, where they did appear at the December and January local board hearing, but there was no quorum. So I'm going to move that we grant a fee waive 90-day extension for RR 8241466 Casey Jackson LLC.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Nope.
Not seeing any. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. Next item on the agenda, inactive files. There are, I believe, 19 permits to be made inactive from the 1/6/2026 meeting. Removed from that list, permit RR 4638566. And since the agenda was typed, we also received a renewal for RR 4942025 Indie Bowl LLC. Can we take it by consent to remove that from the
Consent.
list?
Consent.
Consent.
All right, I will show that removed, and then that brings us to 19 permits to be made inactive.
I incorporate by reference this list of 19 permit applications to be made dead today and hereby move for the approval of the same and inclusion of this list as part of the minutes of today's meeting.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries. 24 permits are listed to be made inactive on the 2/3/2026 meeting if they are not renewed. If that's your permit or your client's permit, get those renewals into us before then. Amended meeting dates. Wednesday, May 6th, Wednesday, May 27th, and Wednesday, November 4th. So make note of those. Not seeing any other items on the agenda, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, say no. Motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Good question, if I could. I've got interest in a permit that was denied at the local